Hello and welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, and in this episode I want to talk about SailfishOS again, and we are going to talk about two different things in this episode. There is going to be a new app which I want to present to you. It's a very small one, and so we are going to talk first about a thing that is happening with SailfishOS, because SailfishOS has now, or better to say Jolla, has now released the support for Android apps on the Sony Xperia 10 Mark IV and 5, and I want to talk about that and show you what's going on there. I myself don't own one of those smartphones, so I can't really show you how to do it exactly, but we are going to talk a little bit about it and what that means, and have a look at the information, the release informations. Because this, of course, is the Sony Xperia 10 Mark III in this case, and that one already has Android support for a longer time. And the 4 and 5 was just released, so we are going to have a look at that. So first, let's have a look at that. I'm going to show you what's going on there and how to do that. There is a small little article on the Jolla forums. If you want to read this, you can go down below in the commentary section, or better to say in the description of the video, and you will find the link there. And what you already can see here is, hey, we enabled, or we just released more or less the 10, 4 and 5 support for AppSupport in this case. If you're not more or less familiar with that name, it's Alien Derwig if you're not using the older term, but today it's called AppSupport. AppSupport meaning that it's all Android apps, right? So not any other kind of the native apps or something, but really only the Android apps are now supported too, because native apps, of course, were working all together all the time. What you can already see here is we have Microsoft 365 and Exchange protocols now for that, alongside with, of course, the Android support in here. Good thing about it is those smartphones already have a pretty high number in Android support, so I think it's at least Android APK level or Android 13 more or less. I'm not sure about the APK level at the moment, but it's 13. And that should give you more or less access to everything that's on there. And the good thing about it is you already can download this. One thing we have to talk about is this one. There is a subscription fee model, more or less. You can use it. The other one isn't yet ready. In the end, there is one that will more or less sustain all the time, so you will just buy it with a one-time purchase, and that one will stay valid for all the time, as I understand it at least. And there is a subscription fee. If you want to go that route, you can do that too, which would be in this case $4.99 and per month. And because it just took a while to get it ready for these two smartphones, you will get the first 6 months for free in this case. Anyway, if you don't want to do that, just wait a little longer and you will get that. Good thing about all this is you can already download it, because at the moment it's more or less in beta status in this case, and the beta status is free for everybody. So you can just download it to your smartphone if you own, of course, a 10, 4 or 5, and try it out and just work with Jolla to make it better if there's something happening or something is not right at the moment. Later on, as mentioned before, there's this monthly subscription model or the one-time payment one that you still should be able to use. If you want to know more about all this, there is a longer discussion here, because people are talking about, hey, is it now only subscription based and stuff like that? So you will read a lot about that in this thread. But after a while, somebody from Jolla, I think it's even him, I'm not sure at the moment, probably it's him, gives you a link to where you can read about the subscription part and what that means, and if there is a one-time payment one too. And yes, there seems to be a one-time payment in the making, and at the moment you can't really complain anyway, because you can download it just for free if you have one of those smartphones and you have already a Jolla account. Okay, so that is the first one I want to show you here, so just make sure that you are getting this if you didn't till now, and of course you have these smartphones. The second part I want to talk about is this one, because there is a problem with the blobs, more or less. Meaning more or less that we are talking about binaries for the camera and a couple of other things which had to be more or less given out by Sony so that Jolla can work on them. And as you already can see, hey, people are already waiting for that, so that the beta to stable version will be available. So at the moment beta is available, but it's going to be stable when everything is working, more or less. That's what they are talking about. And as of now, as you can see, we have a couple of things that will not work on these smartphones because the blobs are not there at the moment, or the binaries were not there. And as you can see, okay, headphone jack is not working, not good, but maybe something you can live with. Camera is disabled. This one is a pretty big one. This one is because the binaries are not there. So if the binaries are not there, you can't really use the camera, so they disabled it for it now. For the 5 version, the fingerprint reader has a problem, and sometimes there are battery status problems or something like that. And that might be a problem too. If you go to flight mode, you might lose one of the SIM cards, so you would have to re-enable it. There is some kind of a script for that, as I am made aware of. And other than that, you can of course restart your smartphone. And yeah, it's a little bit troublesome to use this, but it's beta, so be aware of that. Anyway, if you want to talk about it, use it, whatever, you can really do that. And yeah, so here are a couple of other informations about that, what's going on, what's happening, and so on and so forth. And below that you will see a couple of different other informations. This guy seems to be from Jolla, and so in the end, as you can see, he is just answering every question more or less with yes, 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 yes. So we are waiting for the blobs. Is that a problem? Yes, they are. So are there newer blobs expected? Yes, they are in general. As far as I can understand it here, report bugs, but they find the blobs or not. Yeah, just read this. It's just telling you it's in beta status at the moment, so please be patient. People are working on it, but we will have to wait for it. Yeah, this is more or less all I would like to say to you about all of this. And so the AppSupport is already there. Have a look at that. If you want to read this article or this question here, I will put the link down below in the description box too, and then you can just read everything on here. So let's have a look at our app I'm talking about here, because of course we have a new one now, and I want to show you that one here too. Give me one sec, I will have to refresh my browser once, otherwise we are not going to get the latest version of my smartphone, because as always you can see everything that is going on my smartphone on the big screen now, and I'm just going to navigate a little bit around, talk about what we are seeing here, and giving you some kind of information about that. So first off, what is the app I'm going to talk about? It's called Kilometer, so something that is used for tracking stuff, or better to say, to plan stuff maybe. Because you can plan more or less every trip, so if it's about sports or if it's about driving somewhere or whatever, with this little app, and it will give you a nice little overview. You can even download it later on as a CSV file, for instance, or a CSV file, and like that you should be able to really track everything that you want to. So first off, where to find this app? As always, go to your stores. In this case, I would recommend you to go to the Storeman store if you have installed that. If not, please have a look out there. And yeah, if you go in there, it's open repros, of course, which we are going to find here. And in here, after the updates, information got away. Perfect. You can just go in here and type Kilometer, something like that. Come on. Or maybe I have to update, I'm not sure at the moment. Anyway, you should be able to find it then. Give me one sec, I thought Yeah, there it is. Maybe because I already have it installed, I'm not sure, I couldn't find it, but in the end, it's this little app. As you can see, I found it now with Kilometer. If you're really typing in this, probably it's going to come up. If you go in here, you can already see, hey, it's an app which will log kilometers, mileage, or whatever what you want to have, with costs, for instance, and will calculate the costs for you then. And so you will have the ability to really get everything more or less tracked in a little app. If you like this, you want to have a look at that, it's a pretty nice one. To install it, just go to the upper menu. If you don't already or didn't already install it, more or less, you will find an entry, I think, add repository, and after that install. And if you already have it installed, then you could start it from here, but you don't have to, of course, because you will have it in your drawer menu too. There it is. If I open it up, let's have a look at that. As you can see, I already have one trip in there. It was just a test trip, so I'm just going to get rid of it again, or maybe not. Why should I? Just, we are going to see here the trips you're going to have. For that, there are a couple of different options you can go with, and it's a little bit troublesome to use this app, if you ask me, because sometimes it's a little bit hard to predict where you have to go. But anyway, if you go to the upper menu here, you can see that you can, for instance, add a project and add a trip, even reports. I'm not sure what reports is. Give me a sec. Yeah, okay, reports are the stuff that, the overviews of the different trips in. And here, for instance, is what I was talking about. You can switch between those entries here, which is fine and totally normal. But this button here, the little glowing light, whatever, is not reachable like this, and that is a little bit of a troublesome one, because you can of course click on it. If you click on it, you're going back, but if you don't, you don't have any kind of option to go back to this screen, and that's a little bit troublesome. Anyway, in the end, if you want to add, for instance, a project or a new trip, let's add a new project. As you can see, we have one big project. This is more or less like a group we're going to work with. So for instance, if you have a project, let's say you want to lose weight or something, okay? So in the end, 10 kilograms less. Let's say something like that would be your aim you want to track here. Now you can just give that some kind of a color if you want to have an option to go with that. And now you could, for instance, go for these kinds of traveling stuff. So for instance, bike, car, one walk. Train would be something I would like to see here, because that would be possible too. Anyway, let's say you want to run 10 and you will lose 10 kilograms in this part. Now you could, for instance, put in something like serve another propose, or the kilometer costs. So if you're using this one, oh come on. HP is really getting on my nerve with that one. Anyway, so in the end, as you can see, you can have the price per kilometer part, which will calculate the prices afterwards then for you. Or you could, for instance, have a target to work to. And as you can see, a price per kilometer or a kilometer target would be working. So if you want to, you could, for instance, put in a number here. So just, I don't know, if you are walking 1 kilometer, for instance, how much would you lose weight from that? So let's say 100 grams or something, I'm not sure. It's just for showing you what's going on here. So let's say this would be the part that we would gain from that. If you are ready, just click on using it. And as you can see, we now have my project, and it's going to track everything we are doing here. And in the end, if you go in there, so click on that, you can see in this project, you're going to have different kinds of different trips. I already added one for this one because this is my car. I just called it my project in this case, and here I already have inserted one of the trips. But of course we want to go with the 10 kilograms or less part, and here of course we don't have any kind of kilometers tracked at the moment. So for now we can just go in here, have a new trip, so create that one. And now you would, at this point, use the right project you want to use. And if you have that, now you can, for instance, say, hey, I already got 25 kilometers or whatever done. And you can add in the description if you want to, you don't have to. You can have a date, you can go into a date selector if you want to. I'm not going to do all of that, but just to show you, we now have a description here. And if we do that now, you can already see we have 25 kilometers now, and this one of course was for a different trip than the other one. We got the test one in this case. And if we go now back to it, oh, just to let you know, at the lower part you can access, for instance, the settings. I am not a fan of that, but it's more or less what that is. You have a couple of other options here. I'm not going to talk about that for now. And as you can see, now you will have to go up here to the project part. Again, it's a little bit troublesome, sorry for that, but it's more or less like that. And now you should be able, sorry, didn't I tell you to go in here? Probably not, I'm not sure. I thought that I gave him already my trip information here, so let's see what's going on and if we can do that. If I go with that one, for instance, yeah, project isn't filled, so let's have a look at why it isn't filled. Let's get that one really selected. Maybe I will have to switch it over. Click on that. And now we have a real test in here, that should be fine. I'm going to go over now. And now if we go to the projects, yeah, there we have a new little entry. This one now shows us, hey, we have a couple of different kilometers done already. And now, if you're ready, you can go to the settings here. Give me a sec. There we are, to the reports more or less. And in the reports, you can now have a look at, hey, what did it cost me? For instance, if you're driving with the car or whatever, you could have a look at the target. So how much did you already gain in this? And of course, you could export that as a CSV file to, for instance, get all the stuff out into Excel or whatever you want to use. Calc, of course, is another option for LibreOffice. And like that, you can really track everything that you want to. It's a very small little app for people who like to track stuff. It's just like that. Easy enough to work with if you are aware of those little things. So as I mentioned before, it's a little bit troublesome to navigate here because, hey, we have this upper menu, we have the lower menu, we have this swiping all around. Sometimes you can't go back, so you will have to click on the icon there and not try to swipe around. It's in a rough state at the moment, but it might get better, and I just wanted to show you that. Yeah, and so I would say thank you for watching, thank you for listening in this episode. As mentioned before, you will find all the different links I showed you in this video in the description box down below. So if you want to read about all this, please have a look down there. And other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. If you liked the episode, please give it a thumbs up, of course. And if you didn't subscribe to the channel till now, do that now. The button is down below too. It's free of charge, of course. And other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, see you around, and bye.